Did you know that less than 15% of the books published each year by traditional publishers are by people of color? Well, on Girls Talk Books, we uncover the truth about diversity in the publishing industry and celebrate the authors and industry trailblazers who are changing the game, sharing their wisdom, and inspiring the next generation of storytellers. If you are an aspiring author, a publishing professional, or just someone who loves the power of a great story, this is the podcast for you. So grab your notebook, your favorite drink, and get ready to celebrate the power of representation in publishing. This is Girls Talk Books, where your voice matters. Let's go. Jackie Joyner Kersee, winner of 6 Olympic medals, is considered by ESPN to be one of the 50 great athletes of all time, and was voted Female Athlete of the 20th Century by Sports Illustrated for Women. She is the first woman to win back-to-back gold medals in the heptathlon, the first African-American woman to win an Olympic medal in the long jump, and the first woman to score 7,000 points in the heptathlon. Born and raised in East St. Louis, Jackie is committed to ensuring that all children have access to high-quality after-school programs. With that, she created the Jackie Joyner Foundation, and in her hometown created a center where children can go, learn, and explore. Today, Jackie sat down with the Merze Tate Explorers, the world's only all-girl travel writers academy dedicated to helping girls find their voice through media. She sat down with some explorers today to share more about her Olympic history and inspire them in their own futures. Let's listen.
Mrs. Jackie, because you are an Olympian and an author, we want to know what books you read as a child and which ones were your favorite and why.
So as a child, I loved going to the library. When I was coming up, I had to learn to check out books, and Benji, about the dog, was one of my favorite book stories. And then also just reading autobiographies and biographicals on different people that I either saw on television and I wanted to learn more about them.
Wow.
Speaking of books, we have your book called Running for the Gold. And there's many different inspirational words like determination and dedication. And we just want to know why you used some of these words.
So Running for the Gold and the twos were really based off of my autobiography of Kind of Grace. And I always wanted to do a children's book, and determination, confidence, passion, practice, they're all a part of my curriculum. And in my Winning in Life, it's a Winning in Life curriculum around social emotional responsibility, but then also teaching young people about soft skills to get them ready for the workforce, but then also being able to use those keys, we call them keys, and in running for the goal. But in life, I call them principles. And I think they are applicable at any age. You know, you always got to have confidence. You always got to have that determination and grit. You always got to have that passion, you know, your values, setting goals. And so it's all connected from a child, even through my existence today.
I agree with that.
Speaking of running for the gold, I've recently listened to an interview about you and your brother running to a mailbox. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so when I was younger, probably about 10, 11 years of age, and I love running, and I love showing up every day. I love listening, you know, to the coaches and asking, listen to them telling me what I needed to do. And so my brother was one who did not believe in practice. And so he was around his friends, you know, bragging, you know, like, oh, I can beat her anytime. And so we set up this match race. And so it was from the stop sign to the mailbox. And I beat him, and I say, see, that's what practice will do for you. So that's what the run, that's what it was all about.
That sounds kind of fun. So I recently watched one of your interviews, and I found out that you used to sneak out with your siblings to the park to gather sand so you can practice your long jump. Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so in the sport of track and field, one of the events that I love is long jumping. And my mother would go to work, and me and my sisters would have to stay at home. But across from where I live was a park. And that's where I really got introduced to athletics. And so in the park, it was this sandbox. and it had a lot of sand. So now I'm learning how to long jump, but I didn't have sand in my front yard. So me and my sisters would take empty potato chip bags, go to the park. I say borrow the sand, put it in the potato chip bag, bring it back to my front yard so I could practice on my long jump landing. So that's
So I'm very active in sports as well. I do long jump, hurdles, and I play basketball. I was just wondering if you had any words of encouragement for girls who might want to pursue like the Olympics or want to go there.
my words of encouragement is one, have fun, enjoy what you're doing, explore. Don't let someone say you can only be this. Don't limit yourself. Push yourself beyond your own limitation. Even when you think you're tired, find a way to get up and get it done. You know, I played basketball, I played volleyball, I ran track. You know, I didn't know that I was going to become an Olympian. That's what I wanted. And I listened to my coaches, and I didn't let anyone say I couldn't do something, because all I hear growing up is that you're not going to amount to anything. And so I would say love it, enjoy it, you know, because each sport teach you a lot about your body, teach you about movement. Basketball, you know, getting stronger. Track, you learn the speed, but then you might know you need endurance, you know, so enjoy it. And, you know, and if you want to make the Olympics, be the best that you can be. Just show up every day and learn to be in the top three. And top three will make different teams in track and field. But then on the team sport, you know, still you have to work together with the team and the coaches. And then I don't like those subjective ones where they have to select you. But anyway, you got the mind, you'll do it.
So just now you mentioned that people thought you weren't going to amount to anything. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, you know, a lot of times when you're growing up and people already preordain or say you're going to be this, you're going to be that. And for me, and even with my family and my brothers and my sisters, you know, sometimes there are just negative people, no matter what. And they won't say anything positive. It's always just negativity coming from them. So as a youngster and as a young person, I realized that I want to surround myself with positive people. And something that I didn't have to deal with, but what you all deal with, is social media. I didn't have social media. And if someone sitting behind a computer or a camera trying to be the narrator of your story, but have the self-confidence and know that no one knows your goals. No one knows your dreams, but you have the power to make your dream and your goals become a reality. So it doesn't matter what they said, because I knew what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be. And that's what I thrived and worked on, and surrounding myself around positive people.
Yeah, that's so inspirational.
Yeah. So in one of your interviews, I'm pretty sure that your grandma, she wrote on the back of your baby picture that you were going to do something, you were going to be the first one day of something like special or important. Could you tell us more about that?
Well, what I can tell you is that my grandmother named me after the first lady at that time, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. And that's where I got my name. And on my baby picture, she wrote that you would be the first lady of something. So I just thank God that something became whatever I decided to do.
You said that you had a lot of stuff that you've done. What made you think of doing only track and field right now?
Well, when I was younger, I tried everything, you know, and track and field was something that I wanted to do. I wasn't one of the best girls, you know, and I set goals, and I wasn't one of the fastest, or I didn't jump the furthest. So I said to myself, if I can improve a tenth of a second if I was running, half of an inch if I was jumping, that meant the work that we were doing was paying off. And so I would see myself going from 4th place or 9th place. And then I learned you got to be in the top 3. And so I learned what it would take to be in the top three. You know, not winning all the time, but knowing that I gave 100%. And sometimes 100% might not be first, but I know that I gave my all. And so that's trying all different kind of things. And who knows, you know, because I don't know if you know or not, my scholarship was in basketball. I went to school on a basketball scholarship, but track was my first love. Got this tag team going here.
What was your favorite memory of the Olympics? Like when you got there or anything in between?
Try to say the favorite memory is one, being an Olympian, you know, and then having the opportunity to be on the podium first, second, or third. But then the friends that you make and the friendships that you have, and you know, we traveled to a lot of. For me, I competed in 4 different Olympics, and 2 of them was here in America, Los Angeles, and Atlanta in '96. You know, y'all weren't even born, but anyway, I went to South Korea and Barcelona. You know, didn't see much, you know, of the city because you're so tuned into what you need to do. But I think the friendships and the memories of having a dream and having your coaches and your family and your friends, and also those naysayers that say you weren't going to be anything, and then you stand on top of the podium and saying thank you.
At that point, what do you think your grandma would have said?
What I think my grandmother would have said is that her and God knew. I followed the plan, and I listened, and because I listened, God continued to bless me, and the blessing of being able to, you know, it just so happened I love running, you know, and to be the first woman to do this or first woman to do that. Hopefully, I know she's proud. So.
So we know that your husband is one of the coaches for some really, really big track and field stars such as Sydney McLaughlin and Allison Felix. So what's your experience with like mentoring and training them?
So, you know, being a mentor, and my husband not only coached me, but I mean, I coach some of the best athletes in the world. And even with this generation of athletes, being able to be a mentor to Allison Felix, a mentor to Sydney McLaughlin, even Athene Moo, who is also a part of our camp, is just being able to meet them where they are, be able to give them advice. Bobby does the coaching, and he asked me to step in because he hasn't competed at that level or really competed as an athlete at that level. And what some of the things they might be experiencing, that maybe I can have a different conversation with them than the conversation he might have with them as being their coach. And so, and again, you know, I talked about social media. I'm always encouraging them to, you know, block out the noise, put the phones down, don't look at it, because there are people out there that try to distract you and cause you to lose focus, believe it or not. And so, but they are really, really not just great athletes, but great human beings.
You said that you made a bunch of friends at the Olympics. Do you still keep in touch with some of them?
Yes, keep in touch with a lot of them, even with the ones that's from Europe, and you know, we compete against each other. You know, because I always said to myself, there's more to life than athletics, and believe it or not, when it comes down to sprinters, you know, a tenth of a second, they would not speak each other then. Now, unfortunate, but anyway. So I think that it's very important for us to be great role models, because for me, Wilma Rudolph was a role model to me, and being the first one to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympiad, and coming from Clarksville, Tennessee, dealing with polio, and saying that not only she wouldn't be able to walk, but let alone to be able to run, and dealing with racism and discrimination. But the greatest thing that I love, but her heart was always kind, and she was always willing to share, and she took me under her wings, and And I love that because she was someone I read about in the book, but then to have the opportunity to sit in her hotel room and sit down with her and just take all that wisdom in hopes of how I can become, a much better individual myself. Yeah.
So, are there any other people that inspired you while you were younger? Obviously, Black women weren't very,
You didn't see
like,
him a lot on television.
yeah. So, are there any other people who helped you?
Yes, I think for me, when I first saw the Olympic Games on television, I remember seeing Evelyn Ashford. And at that time, they would put the university, it was UCLA. And I'm like, wow, that might be a great school. Knowing my parents couldn't afford to send me to a school like in California. And then also Annie Myers, basketball, and Anita Ortega. They played, Myers was on the 76 Olympic team. Anita Ortega, they both was on the UCLA team. At that time, it was AIAW championship, not Big Ten, Pac-10, whatever they got now. One of those leagues. But then I saw women doing what I wanted to do athletically. But then also being able to fully understand about Rosa Parks, and having Madam C.J. Walker, just different women that when you talk about entrepreneurship or different things that you wanted to do, but then also being blessed, because sometimes when you're amongst your peers, you don't see the greatness in front of you, you just see them as friends. But being able to train with FloJo, Valerie Briscoe Hooks, Gail Devers, Jeanette Bolden, the list go on and on and on. And they are great in their own rights. And we were all in the midst and how we are role models for one another, because when we competed, we felt that a gold medal, if you're going to get it, you got to go through me or one of us, and because we all were in the same camp.
So, after all 4 of your Olympics, did you have any plan of what you were going to do next?
So for me, the plan was always a part of what I was doing. I came through a community center. I was introduced to sports through the community center. And at the community center, the library was in there, worked with the librarian, had seniors who were a part of my extended family. Because my grandmother and great-grandparents, weren't alive, and I just learned so much. So I knew that community center played a significant role in my life. So I was very, very, really strong on giving back, finding ways to give back, and I knew that I wanted to help people, and I didn't know in what capacity that would be and what that looked like. But I knew because when my parents could not afford for me to have food, have warm clothes, coaches and volunteers and chaperones made that possible without making you feel embarrassed or indignant, So it helped me to set a foundation from the standpoint of understanding that when I do what I'm doing athletically and not knowing all these other opportunities would come, but to be able to provide for others.
Even before you were Olympian, did you watch the Olympics?
Yes, I did. I got my motivation from, at that time, y'all know nothing about no black and white television. Little screen, you sit around trying to watch, elbowing room, because, the TV is not that big at all. But anyway, just watching it on television, and everyone would tune in, during that time. And that's when I really saw, women competing, even with, she's a good friend of mine, Nadia Comaneci, not knowing, I thought I was going to be a gymnast, not knowing I was going to grow and I wasn't going to be doing all them backwards handsprings and all that other stuff. But anyway, so, yes.
So your long jump record is over 7 meters. Can you give us an example that would kind of help us visualize how long that really is?
I don't know. I just did it. I think sometimes people measure from, I really don't know, but it's long.
Could
You
you
know,
like
because
walk from
7
one side of
meters.
the room to the other?
See, because 7 meters is roughly right at 23 feet. My record is 7 meters, 40 something, which 24 feet, 7 inches. So, see, you can't walk it. Rest his soul, he just left us. But you can't, because one of the things, so you would go, if you count like this, right? But that's not how you would get there. So if you're on the basketball court, so think about if you were probably at the top, right before if this is the half court here, then the top here, then going from there and jumping towards the goal. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So you're right.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Right.
you flew.
So how did you train for that? Because that seems like very, very long.
One of the things, long jumping, I love the long jump, and that was an event that we worked on a lot. Being a multi-eventer, a heptathlete, we were focused on the weaker events. So the preparation, long jumping is a rhythm, and learning what rhythm works for me, being able to carry the velocity that I needed to accelerate, get the trajectory or the lift off the board, be able to hold myself in the air for a second and get the extension that will allow me to get the distance. So it would be broken down into either just focusing on my run without worrying about the board, because a lot of young people, and I hope you don't do this, be so worried about that board. That board is not going to go anywhere. So you just learn the rhythm, and then once you learn the rhythm, then your coach can tell you either you need to come up or you need to go back. But you got to be consistent in your run so your coach can tell you what you need to do. Don't get down there and do the cha-cha. You know what I mean? 'Cause he can't tell you, because you didn't took an extra 20 steps that he don't know if you need to come up or come back. But the key is learning the rhythm. And then once you learn the rhythm, then apply the speed. And you do basketball?
Yes, I play basketball.
So think about when you're going for a layup, and in long jump, they tell us about the penultimate, short, long, short. So, and when you're doing a layup, and if you're going too fast, you're going to hit the mat or you're going to go past the goal. So the same way with long jumping is being able to have that velocity and that same, to give you that lift, to be able to grab the rim or do what you need to do in the same way what you should do with long jumping. Don't slow down to go. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're one of the older in your family. So how many siblings do you have? Like how many growing up?
I have one brother and 2 sisters, and I'm the oldest girl. My brother is the oldest. And so I would have to convince my sisters to go with me, because the philosophy from home was that if one go out, you go together. And when one come home, you must come home together. And with sisters, because I want to stay all night at the center, play basketball. They get upset. They want to go home early. But anyway, I was the oldest. No, you're going to sit there and wait.
Excuse me, I have a question for you. How old were you when you started long jumping?
So I started long jumping probably right around the age of 9, 10 years of age, yeah.
Okay, I have a question too. So when, can you explain to us the mindset you have to put yourself in to train for the Olympics, to compete in the Olympics, and like you said, drown out all the noise, but how do you get so focused to where, 4 years, that's a long time to train just to stick with it?
Yes, so it's not the mindset of what it takes to train for the Olympics. Every day we train for the Olympics. Olympics is every day for us. And so the mind is always focusing on what it is I need to do. So the preparation So you're preparing. And so whatever that big event is, that you know that you're ready. The only thing most time, I know for me, which was difficult, was when you have to deal with injury. And then that place, with your mental, so you have to learn to realize that in athletics, you're asking your body to do a whole lot. It might break down. And that's not when you all of a sudden cast doubt on yourself and then everybody don't know what they doing. No, that's when you need to gel and pull together. Go to physio, get your physical therapy work, listen to your coaches, and still know that you can do that. And it's easy said than done, because I had my own challenges. Yeah.
Did you have anything else that in mind you wanted to do before you thought you wanted to long jump?
I always wanted to long jump, and the coaches had me doing something else. And so one of our coaches had a makeshift long jump pit in his backyard. And I was sitting there waiting for him to take me home. And so he went into his home to get us some water. And when he went to go get the water, I got up and I long jumped. And as he was coming back out, he saw how far I jumped. And I was like, I told you I wanted to jump. And that's how I got to the long jump.
Okay. So I heard you had your own foundation. What made you want to create this foundation?
So my foundation work, it really is one of my greatest accomplishments. And I started the work because I came through a community center. And I don't know if you're going to be there later. I tell these stories, but because that center was shut down when I lost my mother unexpectedly, and I wanted to go somewhere where they could lift my spirits, I go to that center and it had padlocks on the door. And I'm 18 years of age, and I just started thinking, where do the young people go? And not knowing that you need money to open this, I just say, oh yeah, I'm gonna open it. Open it. And so after making my second Olympic team in '88, I had sponsorship dollars. I chartered a plane, took 110 students to the Macy's Day Parade. I wanted our young people to see that our community is no different than any other community, and just to expose them. And at that time, I said I didn't need a building to help people. And then 8 years later, we broke ground on the Jackie Joyner Kersee Center. We opened in 2000. And the reason for it, because those individuals that I was talking about that made sure when I didn't have food to eat or clothes to wear, it stayed with me. And the least I can do is find a way to give back. And I chose to move from Los Angeles to go back into my hometown of East St. Louis, because I want our young people to be able to talk to me, touch me, and know that this is possible. And so that's why.
So I don't know if you got our little agenda, but we wanted you to do like a little exercise. Did you get a chance to work on that exercise?
I did, but I didn't. But anyway.
Okay.
I read it.
So basically what it is, because we love talking to authors, and we want to know, like, in your life, what is your story? How does your story look to you looking back now today? So we had you do a fill in the blank. So once upon a time, maybe I need to be having the mic, or you read it. Okay.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl who
Had a dream.
one day
She'd be the first lady.
because of that,
She continued to work hard.
because of that,
She found a way.
until finally,
She opened up the Jackie Joyner Kersee Center.
thank you so much.
Wow, that was an amazing interview. So proud of the Merze Tate Explorers. If you want to learn more about Jackie Joyner Kersee, check out her book, A Kind of Grace, and her children's book, Running for the Gold. Also learn more about her foundation at jjkfoundation.org.
Are you an author with an amazing story to tell? Do you work in the publishing industry and have insight that can inspire and educate other writers? If so, we want you on Girls Talk Books. Or if you're an author looking to write your book, we can help with that too. For more information, visit girlstalkbooks.com. In the meantime, keep reading and keep writing.